Ladies, 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 ladies.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel here on YouTube. My name is Bones of Life. Hope you guys are healthy and well. Today we're going to be playing a little bit of 20 Minutes Till Dawn. A wonderful vampire survivor slash enter the gungeon slash roguelike, however you want to think about it, game. And today I'm enjoying myself the earlier side of it. Like I'm playing Darkness 1, which is basically the beginning levels. Good times though, I've been enjoying it. It's a lot of fun. It is essentially a female protagonist driven, you gotta survive the last 20 minutes until dawn, and we'll be playing on the map called the Forest right now. This is Yuki. Yuki is the Ice Queen, I guess you could call her. She's basically the #1 ice user because she shoots out these little butterflies that then inflict ice on the opponents, and when they're hit with it, they're frozen for a short amount of time, and you'll be able to get buffs that are going to make it even more deadly over time. My favorite being Shatter, which allows it to do 7% damage to every enemy near one that gets killed while it's frozen, and it just becomes insanely bullet heavy kind of game, very overpowered by the end of the game. If you can get your build going and whatnot. So I've been wanting to play some Enter the Gungeon type games lately, and I think that I had 20 Minutes Till Dawn on my back end for a while there. I played it when it not first came out, but when it went on, I think the winter Steam sale for like less than $3 or something like that. I played it back then, and then I stopped playing the game for a while, and I decided to look through my library and kind of play something that was different. I've been hopping on Pal World quite a lot as well. I don't know if I'm gonna make a video on that, but it has been sucking up a lot of my time, and I've kind of got burnt out on it a little bit. And so now I'm playing these like kind of flashy short games that are a lot of fun to play. Not a lot to say at the very beginning here. I'm going to be grabbing a lot of, reloading and fire rates type stuff. So there's a lot of different things you can buff, and I'm going to be focusing on my gun. Mainly because I think it's every 6 shots, Yuki gets the ability to shoot out those little butterflies you're seeing that will then freeze the enemies in front of me. So I want to have a rapid firing gun, which right now I'm using the dual SMGs. And they are going to allow me to get more butterflies out per second, which is the goal overall. We out here making sure Frozone is proud of us. I think I decide to wait for that because I want to get my reload speed up quicker. The faster you reload, the more that you'll get your shots off. So it's a mixture between getting good fire rates and good reload speed at the same time. So I wanted to solidify that early, and since I'm freezing everything right away, it is the way that I'm going to go about it. Essentially, I'm going to try and get the gun online before I do everything else. And yeah. So I've been playing this game by myself, but I could definitely see this being a game that would be awesome in co-op. It's too bad that they don't have something like this. It's just a fantastic little sit down and play for 20 minutes and then do whatever you got to do. It's a great game for anyone who doesn't have long extended periods of time to play. And similar to, gosh, what was it? There was, I think, Halls of Torment that has like it's usually a 30-minute run, but you can shorten it to a 20-minute run. These are 20-minute runs that you can then, again, shorten to a 10-minute run if you wanted to do that, and you get like extra experience and whatnot with that. So this game would be great for anyone who's on a schedule and doesn't exactly have the most amount of time to play a game. I would recommend it to pretty much anyone who's not necessarily the most technically gifted gamer. This would probably do well in like your earlier stages of gaming, or like if your kids like the game, this would probably be a pretty good one for them to play too, because it's a lot of simplistic controls. You have left click, which is shooting your gun off, and if your character has an ability, then they will use the right click to activate that ability. But mine is a passive one, so Yuki doesn't actually have that ability on her right now. So here we go. I'm going for my gun mastery now that I've maxed it out. After you pick a ability, it'll branch into the trees. Next time you see me level up, you'll see it on the right side there when I decide which upgrade I want to get. And here's our first elite, by the way. This is just going to be a stronger, more tanky boss. This one in particular doesn't do much. He just kind of lumbers at you, but other ones will do more involved things later. So it unlocks on the bottom right there. When you buy one, you start to unlock these trees. You can either go the left side or the right side, and they're kind of variants all depending on whatever one you pick. When you get a treasure chest, this is specifically to upgrade your character's ability. So mine just got an extra butterfly shot off. Just every time I shoot it, which is every 6 shots, as I said before. So more freezes per second, and it's really, really good. I like it. I like it a lot. This was the first time I actually got a really overpowered build going. I just figured out that the ice, when you freeze them, can actually make them take percentage damage, and I was like, whoa, okay, figured it out. I should have went for frostbite and stuff earlier, but I think I was trying to get the gun online so I could get more butterflies out. But now I'm going to start upgrading my ice powers and making myself into Elsa from Frozen, and just, you know, let them go straight to hell. So I think that this is, pardon, brain fart there. This is one of those games that's not necessarily going to be something you play for days and days and days, but I did give myself the night to play it, and I played it for probably about, I think I was at 5 hours at the start of this, and near the end I'm getting close to like 10 hours, so I think I put 5 extra hours into it over the course of 2 to 3 days. It's a lot of good fun, and there's a lot of play styles that you can get behind this, so I love that a lot. Right now I'm going to be focusing on a little bit more movement speed and getting around faster. Again, this is only Darkness 1, so these are going to be some of the weakest enemies you can get, some of the easiest rounds you can do. It goes all the way up to Darkness 15. Which just every heat of darkness, if you're familiar with games like this, essentially makes little guys go faster, little guys do more damage, bosses have double the health, yada yada yada, things like that. Multipliers that make it just that much more difficult for your next run as you continue to figure out builds. So if you saw at the very beginning, that was my initial runs I was going to try to make for this, but I died so many times that I was just like, screw it, I want to make sure I get a good run before I try and, you know, put something out on the channel for it. So yeah, just enjoying myself, blowing away a bunch of these guys. We're about a quarter of the way through the game right now, and I just been thinking about like good habits and things that I'm trying to establish. So I kind of like, if you know me in person, and here's the second elite, by the way, this guy's a little bit more intense, but because I have Freezy ability, he kind of gets frozen like a lot, and it makes her really, really good at fighting elites, by the way. She just freezes them constantly, they kind of get stuck in place. It's like they're frozen for 1 second, but I keep refreshing it, you know? So this is going to increase duration of my Freezy abilities, and I think that's the one I go for, yep. And it makes it really good because you can mix up, you don't just have to go ice, I can additionally add fire and lightning, which is what I think I intend to do later on as I continue on. So, anyway, informing good habits. If you know me in real life, I drink a lot of soda. I've been drinking a lot of soda, so I've been trying to lay back on that because I have been kind of working out in between games. Nothing serious, you know. I'm not like super fit crazy, but I do like to go on hikes and stuff, so I don't want to be winded, and I want to be able to lift myself up over chest high surfaces and things, which happens a lot while I'm out on my hikes because I like to go in the back country rather than do the path stuff. So I've been, you know, trying to fix myself and get those good habits going. So if any of you guys out there are currently like bettering yourself really, or trying to make yourself move towards a goal that you've always wanted. For myself, I wanted to stop drinking soda so much because I really rely on it as a feel-good kind of chemical sort of thing. You know, I would, oftentimes when I get off work, I would drink, and this is Shatter, by the way, the thing I was telling you about, explodes the enemies to do 7% of their health per in the area. It's just an insane ability. It destroys mobs. Yeah, but if you guys are bettering yourself and stuff, just feel free to share down in the comments. I'd love to hear some habits that could be better for me, that I could look at, that might, you know, make me and my family benefit in the long run. Because I don't feel like we talk about that kind of stuff enough. And recently, I know if you've seen a couple of my last 2 videos, I think, the one for Repo, and then it goes the Bandit Hell episode. Those, I was just kind of like in this weird existentially like negative kind of mindset, and I was using this to try and fix me. I guess you could say, quote unquote, you know, air quotes, fix me. Instead of going to reach for things like soda, and it's been I mean, rough at times, to be honest with you, but it's also been pretty rewarding to try and, you know, move towards a better version of myself rather than just kind of relying on what has always worked in the past. And it got me really thinking about video games and if it's like an addiction of mine or whatnot. And I must say, I don't really think it is, because I don't shrug my responsibilities to do it, you know. And not, I mean, it's not that I shrug my responsibilities to drink soda, but I would also like require a soda at work every day. Like having to stop for fast food is kind of like the negative side of it, right? I would oftentimes do that. So I think this way I'm going to go with run and gun. Yep, as you shoot, you get slowed down, and now you're going to see I don't have that problem anymore, so I'm just going to keep moving around, grabbing my experience as I go. Now, the ice build is just insane because it slows all of the enemies. As soon as those butterflies touch them, the regular enemies are stuck for an insane amount of time. I think it's like 5 seconds, something like that, plus the 35% that I added on top of that, so they're frozen for quite literally like forever. And whenever I destroy them, they're dealing 7% max damage to all of the enemies around them. So if I kill one, that's 7%, and to the frozen guy next to him, and then he does 7%, so it's 14% to the guy that's behind them. And I think you can see how that stacks and gets absolutely insane. I love Yuki. Yuki's been a lot of fun. There are definitely some cooler heroes out there, I guess you could say. My favorite so far has been Katana. Katana is really sick. She has the ability to, whenever she reloads her weapon, she swings a giant sword and an AoE around her, and it's just fantastic to look at. It's really fun. There are also a plethora of different weapons you can use. Right here, this is the dual SMG. There's stuff like a bat gun, which shoots homing bats that follow enemies around and attack them. There is other things like, we got a shotgun. There's also like a flamethrower. There's a squirt gun where you shoot like a plant that hovers around you and it'll shoot out spores that do small explosive AoEs. And it's just a pretty creative game like that. Really like it. I don't know if just one dude made it, but there is like one name that's credited at the and you'll forgive me for forgetting who that guy was, but it's credited in the name of the 20 minutes to die. 20 minutes to die, 20 minutes till dawn, excuse me, on the store page. So I'll make sure to link that in the description below. So as you fight, you're able to get these evolutions. They change your gun into something different. So I'm going to obviously go for Hail Shot here. It's going to do more damage, and it's going to make my guns just insanely overpowered with the ice build I've already got going. So now I'm really going to be wanting fire rate and reload speed to be getting as many bullets on screen as possible. This game has a wonderful community behind it too, really. I mean, it's very easy to get any help that you need. It's cool because it's one of those few games that you don't often get to see like a female representation in it. I don't know if the guy who made it or the lady who made it, whoever, is a female, but it's just nice to see like you can only play as female characters in this, so it's kind of cool to see that, like, that dynamic. I always like me some waifus, quote unquote, but not necessarily the ones that are overly sexualized. I usually like my female heroes to be more, I don't know, leadership and more thought-provoked than just, you know, big booty, big bouncing, you know, assets, shall I say. Like, for example, one of my favorite ever heroes of all time is Jill Valentine. I love me some Jill Valentine from the Resident Evil series. She's fantastic. Ada Wong is also cool a lot. I like them a lot. I think that they have like this empowering female role, and it's really cool. It's really nice. So props to whoever made this game. I give you a soft clap at 5 a.m. in my house for you. Good job. Good job. Do I think this game could be improved? Well, I think that the game is, at the price point it's at, fantastic. There's really not a lot to add in terms of what you're getting. The bang for your buck is definitely there, especially if you get it on sale. It's basically a steal, in my opinion. There's so much content in terms of, like, you know, rerunning and trying to get your best builds and playing your different heroes to figure out which one and which with what weapon. There's also meta progression that I'll show at the end called runes. Runes allow you to get all kinds of crazy benefits, like There's one that whenever you reload in an AoE around you, it'll damage the enemies. You can get like 4% chance to, put freeze, fire, or lightning on an enemy. There's ones where you get these little seismic runes that'll float around you and they'll knock back enemies periodically. There's one that because you can get summons in this game, for example. There's one that'll allow you, if you only choose to do a single summon, you can really buff the heck out of that one summon. And it just gives you a lot of variety in your playstyle. There are also 3 different maps. The 3 maps are Forest, Temple, and I think, what was the other one? Pumpkin Patch. And they basically make the maps smaller with a little bit of an aesthetic change. The Forest is completely open and you can go wherever you want. Temple's a little bit tighter, it has some pillars in the way. And then you've got the Pumpkin Patch, which is a smaller, basically a deathmatch kind of area. And all of them come with their own unique enemies, by the way, which I think is really important for a game like this to mix up the enemy diversity. I'm sure you've seen on the screen already 4 to 5 different enemies, and if we include the elites, I think it's somewhere in the ballpark of 6. I could be wrong on that, but there's a nice variety here, and it keeps you refreshed looking at what you're looking at. And that's really, really important for a game like this. As I said, really cheap game that basically only wants to hold your attention for, I would say, a week at max, or maybe if you really, really are hammering it and trying to get world records and stuff, then you could put hundreds and hundreds of hours into it. But for someone like me, I could see this game basically being played until I get to Darkness 15. Right now I'm at 10 hours altogether, and it'll probably take me another 10 on top of that to get where I want to be, I would imagine. But yeah, outside of that, if we're taking the price point out of consideration and we're just thinking of it as a game that has the whole package, it doesn't have everything to offer, I'm going to go ahead and say no, actually it doesn't. This game has a little bit of the problem where it's not that replayable. I'm going to say that delicately, because there are many different heroes to play. I think there's 10 or so, and then you got the 3 maps, the 15 Heats of Darkness, and then all of the different weapons, which is also, I think, in the ballpark of about 10. I could be wrong, maybe it's a little bit less. However, the power-ups, and probably the most important thing about these types of games, is the power-ups and the variety that you can get. I'll put Tiny Rogues into this category right now because Tiny Rogues has so many different status effects, so many different items that can then also be set equipment items that can be mixed in with all kinds of different play styles. You can add, the bombs that you pick up and keys and resources. This is a game that does not have all of that. And you can see the same upgrades again and again and again. It's about picking the right ones and mixing it in with your play style to work the best. Now, that, like I said, does kind of limit the game. The game does not have as many options for you in the end. You're basically going to go, okay, am I going to be a gun build? Am I going to be an elemental build, or am I going to be a summoner build? And genuinely, that's kind of the way that it goes. You don't have a lot of freedom outside of those options. But that is to say that there still is plenty of room for you to express yourself in however you want to play this game the first few times. You'll start to feel limited probably, I don't know, after about the first 5 hours I started feeling pretty limited, but then it became a min-maxing kind of game, right? Where it's I want to start adding ice into my summoner build and see if I can freeze enemies and use that to my advantage. Or what if I put a lot of reload but not a lot of damage, so I'm shooting a gun really, really fast. Oh, lightning. When you shoot twice, the lightning strikes will hit them. Right, and then you have stuff like Siege right here, where you have a chance of not consuming ammo by standing still, so you can shoot off lots and lots of lightning. It does add a good amount of variety in that regard, but like I said, it's not going to last you forever. Now, let's talk characters for a minute. The characters have really interesting variety. I like the way that there are mixed up between having an ability and having a passive. It's nice, but I think all of them probably should have a passive in some way, shape, or form. I think it would just add to the character, or maybe even give them variants where it's one side has a passive, one side has a not, right? So a good example would be for this lady here, for example, if I were to use my ability, right, and say it's on cooldown, she shoots a circle of these butterflies, and then instead of every 6 shots, now I can activate it when I want. I can freeze the enemies when I feel the need to. you know? Or there's a character called Haskell who has these tentacles, right? She summons them around the map, and she basically has a passive summon at all times. What if instead of that she could activate her passive and she turns into like this giant tentacle monster like Raven from Teen Titans and slams it in front of her and kills a big chunk of enemies, but then has like a cooldown where she has to like refresh herself or whatever. This would add another level of variety to the game that I think would help a lot. Another thing that I do have, like one of the few gripes that I do have, is I'm an achievement hunter. I love to hunt achievements in games like this. It just adds to the challenge of trying to beat the game as quickly as possible, or trying to beat the game with as much efficiency as possible, or what have you. By the way, I like this little boss design, very cool. It's also nice that they don't like get rid of all the monsters that were on the screen. They add on top of the monsters that were on the screen these little shooty boys and the exploding ones from earlier to kind of mess with you. You have to kill all of the mobs before you worry about the boss, and you don't necessarily have to do that, but in my playstyle I find myself getting really distracted by these guys who shoot the red orbs, so if I'm not careful I will get killed off of this. It has happened a couple times. But yeah, the game does a good job of giving you the variety, but like I said, if you could mix in just a little bit more of that like skill usage, because not all characters have a skill usage. Like for example, the main character, the starting character, only has rerolls. She can only reroll her items. You know, it's like that seems like a bit of a missed opportunity for me. You know what I mean? What if her active allowed her to reroll all the enemies on the screen? Even if it's something like really wacky like that, it still can add a lot of variety and fun to a game, and maybe someone could use it, you know, in a speedrunning way or whatever. You know, it's important to have it in these types of games. It really is. Now, again, at the price point it's at, there's just nothing wrong with this game. I could easily, and I mean easily, recommend this game to anyone who wanted to try it. If this looks interesting to you, please go ahead and pay for it, man. It's like $3, you know what I mean, if you get it on sale. $5 if you don't. And you won't regret your purchase as long as you're willing to say, like, I'm only going to spend a couple hours in this game. That is most likely how it's going to play out for you. Now, here we go with the bullet damage. Fighting the Wyvern now. We're getting to the last little bits of the gameplay. When you get to the end, you're going to, at the last 20-minute mark, you're going to fight a final boss. He's not going to erase all the minions on the screen like Halls of Torment does. You're still going to have to deal with them, but you are also going to be able to fight him. So we're going to get another chest, and it's just insane, her abilities, man. She allows you to do so much damage. Oh, speaking of, I just kind of want to mention one of the cooler champs that I played earlier. I think her name is, oh my gosh, Hinata? Is that right? She summons a shadow clone of herself, and it's so cool because it's not just a shadow clone that spawns underneath you. She dashes forward and then summons the clone where she was. I love that. Like, I wish all of the characters had that, you know, like something really unique and cool about them. Like, and so when you get like the chest, one of hers, for example, is that when you dash, it does like 400% of your bullet damage to whatever enemy is in your way. So it's like a freaking ninja slash, you know, samurai cut to black and white and slice them in half and they turn into blood. I love that so much. Making me happy, making me smile. You know, so I'm going to go ahead and get some death rounds here, just up my damage because I'm already doing so much. And when I freeze enemies, now I'm doing even more to them. In the ballpark of somewhere like 40%, I believe that last one was. Really, really nutso kind of stuff, man. I love it a lot. That's why I had so much success with Yuki, because I really wasn't understanding how to use the other abilities super great, but hers was very intuitive for me. It was like, okay, freeze the enemy and then shoot the frozen guy. I can figure that out, you know? So I would break down the upgrades into like 3 different categories. Like I said, there is basically the survival category, there is the damaging category, and then there is the summoning category. And that's basically what you're going to choose to use. I'm going a mixture of the elemental category and going with the damage. So I kind of lump them into one because they do kind of the same thing, like do. For example, the curse is one that you can get as an elemental thing. It'll put a little skull over the enemies and they take, I think it's like 100% extra damage, and you can boost that with some of the variants that you get of that skill tree as you go forward. And then, you know, I think I mixed in some of the lightning stuff. I can't fully remember how I had this. Yeah, I did have some lightning stuff here too. And then you got stuff like Divine Shield, which you can see is circling me right now. It'll recharge after a certain amount of time. You can get other stuff like Smite. Smite does when you reload your weapon or you shoot the last bullet in your weapon. It's one of the two, I can't remember. You will damage all of the enemies around you for a certain amount, and if you have higher max HP, which is up on the top left there, those little beating hearts, you will do even more damage. And if you kill with Smite, then with one of the variants, you can then get more hearts added on top of that, which adds more damage to your Smite. Really cool. I did a build with the shotgun with that, and basically I would reload my shotgun because it only has 2 shots, and then I went for a maximum reload, so I would then have a ton of HP and reload my gun a bunch and really fast, so I was smiting the enemies all around me constantly. It was a very claustrophobic game though. I had to have them extremely close to me, and yeah, I wouldn't recommend that for the earlier games. You want to try and get this distance because it's really important to figure out spacing. One of the weird things that kind of threw me off is that when I'm shooting my gun, I go slower by like 50% or something like that. It might even be like more than that. It feels really substantial. And that definitely messed with me at the start because it didn't feel right. I mean, I don't know how else to say it. It felt like I was not supposed to be that way, but I get why they would do that. It kind of keeps you from being super overpowered. But like I said, I got run and gun where I have a walk speed addition, and that has been a fantastic addition to this build, for example. So now I'm in auto kill mode. I'm basically freezing everything I touch. I'm shattering them and killing everything around them when I hit them. And now I just added assassin, which is if it's below 20% health, they get just insta killed. So if I freeze something, insta kill it, does more damage to the enemy around it. I hit it with a gun, that insta kills it, that freezes it, that damages the ones around it. You get my drift. I am basically a non-stop freeze you to death Iceman Omega level mutant, and that's how I wanted to roll. There are so many cool builds. Like, for example, there was this one where I was using a grenade launcher with a character that shoots all of your bullets out of her clip when you use her special ability, and it was just insane. It had so many projectiles and explosives on the screen, it was literally like chugging my computer. It's very Isaac-esque in that way. Here's the final boss. I hate to disappoint you, but you're not even going to get to be able to see what the final boss does because I'm so OP at this point that I am freezing it consistently. I'm moving around it like this so I can make sure that my butterflies are basically surrounding it at all times, so if it does break out of the stun lock, it hops right into one of my butterflies and then immediately gets frozen again. And yeah, that's 20 minutes till dawn. I have to admit, I am very happy with my purchase here, and I can't recommend this game enough. If you're into this style of game, if you like Enter the Gungeon, if you like Vampire Survivor type games, this game will definitely tickle your fancy. You know, it'll jostle your Jimmy a little bit, and you guys will be able to enjoy yourself. Again, you can pause this game at any time. It's 20-minute runs, so it's pretty unintrusive in terms of like if you have kids and stuff like I do. So yay, my first night 1, Darkness 1 victory, man. It was an absolute freaking monstrosity to try and get this after not playing this game forever. It took me a very long time. I had just beat Darkness 0 last time I played it, so let's hop on over and take a look at the runes. These are all the runes. Sword stuff on the left, which is going to be damage and status effect and bullet speed up and the summon increasing, yada yada yada. And on the right is going to be more defensive stuff like getting more experience per run, being able to up your movement speed when you reload, having those orbs, for example, that knock back enemies, increasing your maximum dodge cap, which is 60% and can be upgraded to be even more than that. So I got nothing left to say, guys. I think I'm pretty much done here, and I thank you guys so much for tuning in to check this out with me. It is an absolutely wonderful game. You can look forward to me probably posting one with no commentary just so you guys get a further look, and that'll be it for me. I'll hope to see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.